Welcome back to the Geekcentric podcast, and welcome to our watch club for Star Wars: The Bad Batch. If a war is coming, it will be their fight as much as ours. Bonsoir and welcome back to Watch Club. My name is CT0831, but you can call me Hugs. And this is our Watch Club for Star Wars: The Bad Batch, Episode 12, titled Rescue on Ryloth. If you're joining us for the first time, this is Watch Club, our weekly review series, kind of like a book club, but way better. Keep in mind, we will be going into full spoilers for this series and Star Wars in general. So if you haven't watched this week's episode yet, be sure to do so, then come right back in less than 12 parsecs. Now, before we all lay down our weapons, let me introduce you to our experimental crew of ragtag troopers. First up, he's taller than a Jawa, smaller than a Jabba, and as entertaining as Le Jar Jar. He's CT1231, also known as Idiot.
Hello.
Hello. Every time with the British accent.
Yeah, I'm keeping it simple.
Every time.
I don't really do a good French accent, so I've realized that after editing our last episode.
One?
So
Don't worry, it's the last time, seemingly the last time you'll have to even think about it. And rounding out our small battalion, we have the dankest, dankest dude on Dagobah, CT1006, but you can call him Joints.
Yep.
That's what you can call him. How are you soldiers doing this week?
all right. Another
Yeah.
bit of a lackluster episode yet again.
I think so. Yeah. I have some thoughts. But before we get to those thoughts, and before we all get a lesson from Tech on how to scramble a ship's signature, let's get your high-level thoughts on the episode. Joints, we're going to start with you this time.
Well, like Justin said, another kind of lackluster episode. I will say I liked it more than last week's episode. I guess maybe the Bad Batch's presence really elevated it for me. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. Again, I'm tired of Ryloth, so I think that kind of... I'm Ryloth fatigue over here, so...
Yeah. You're Rylothed out.
Yeah, Rylothed out,
Yeah. How about yourself, Edit?
Lackluster. It's this ongoing theme of kind of like they're starting something in one episode and then wrapping it up real quick in the next, and it's just
right.
It's becoming repetitive. Like I think after last week's episode, I was like, okay, like I could see the future of Bad Batch being a little bit underplayed, and they're still involved, and it's more or less these other stories that are in and around them that they're influencing, and I thought that was really interesting, and it did set up some stakes, which again gets resolved fairly quickly in this episode. So,
and neatly with a bow.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I think some of the theories that we had last week were far better than the outcome of what this episode was. So
I know we should have written it. Honestly, this episode, it certainly wasn't the worst episode by far. But it felt very safe, right? Like it had some cool moments for Hera, Omega, and even Hauser. But overall, it wasn't as dark or as heavy as we wanted it to be. And I think, it was another rescue mission, very much in the vein of like what I thought the first part of this arc, could have been. And I'm happy that wasn't. But I don't know, last week's episode was such a surprising little delight. And this one just really felt flat for me. And it really didn't have any lasting consequences other than maybe something laid out for Hauser's character going forward. Maybe. I don't know. We'll get into that later. But for now, let's dive right into this rescue mission. The episode starts back on Ryloth with Rampart mocking Cham, Gobi, and Eleni, calling Cham the traitor of Ryloth while threatening his daughter and asking for her whereabouts. Rampart orders Hauser to find and arrest any Syndulla sympathizers. Hauser tells Rampart he'll find Hera himself, and Rampart informs him that he has another squad working on that and to follow his orders. Then we see Chopper sneaking around as Hera informs him they need to get to the base and send out a transmission fast. Upon receiving that transmission, Omega, of course, is eager to aid her new friend, but Hunter is wary, arguing that they can't put themselves on the line every time someone's in trouble. Why not? Isn't that what soldiers do? Omega asks, which is enough to get Hunter to reluctantly agree to head to Ryloth and hear Hera out. The squad meet up with the future Rebel and Chopper at her father's old command post. Hera informs them that Admiral Rampart has not only taken Cham and Eleni captive, but he's also targeting anyone who's loyal to her father. Hunter agrees to scope out the capital, but no guarantees, he adds. Upon reaching the capital, it's clear the Galactic Empire is in the middle of a full-scale military operation similar to its presence on Raxus, and Senator Ta is seemingly alive? Anyways, Wrecker is ready as ever to fly into the capital and rescue Hera's parents, guns blazing. But Hunter puts a damper on the idea after spotting an Imperial probe droid, and then he takes it out with his knife as a super badass, and he knows that the Empire will soon be alerted to their presence. Even worse, Omega tells him Crosshair is nearby, which convinces Hunter to abandon the rescue operation altogether. Hera pleads with them not to leave, promising to double their pay. And he says all the money in the galaxy won't matter if we're dead. What you're asking us to do is not worth the risk. So, guys, 2 questions to get us started here. Number 1, why do you think Hunter and Clone Force 99 were so reluctant to take on this mission? And number 2, why the heck is Orn Free Taa not freaking dead? I mean, come on! Darcy, come on, start us off here.
I think Hunter and the Clone Force, I mean, after seeing the lengths that they had gone to on Raxus, without having any, like, high stakes in it, like, being paid or anything, I don't know, it seems almost too risky for them. Like, they don't know what they're getting into because they've just showed up because they were dropping weapons off type thing. Like, they're completely dissociated with it, so I can understand their skepticism about accepting this mission.
For sure. It's one thing to drop off weapons and to claim a bounty, if you will, or a cost for those weapons, but it's another thing to like fully go into, Imperial territory to save people that are being held captive. I think it has a lot to do, as Darcy's saying, is that they didn't want to draw a target on them. They're trying to lay low. Hunter is very concerned, obviously, about Omega, and putting a spotlight on them puts a spotlight on her, and I think he's just trying to get by and keep the team together in these tough times.
Mm-hmm. I get that, but I mean, I don't know. I felt like it was a little cheap, like to try and do the whole, showing Omega's true nature of willing to help someone. It's just like her family, and I like that. I did, but it did seem kind of strange because I don't know. Hunter and the Bad Batch, they've taken on missions in this series that, they didn't have to for the greater good, not necessarily for a price point or a cost. And it just felt like why all of a sudden were they afraid? Like, I get it was to set that up, that whole back and forth between Omega and Hunter, and to like remind him of, what's really important in the galaxy or whatever. But it felt out of character for me. And it took me a little bit out of those moments because I was just like, why don't they want to help? Why don't they want to help? I don't know.
I definitely didn't think that. I think I leaned on the side that there is a justifiable reason as to why he doesn't want to get involved and paint a huge target on them.
I mean, maybe it's Crosshair, right? Maybe
sure.
The last time they got close to Crosshair, it was pretty bad for them, I guess.
Yeah, no, I totally think that they have their own problems they're trying to deal with right now. So like trying to lump another problem on top of that, again, a very like risky one where they're going to be out in the open where they know the Empire has a presence there and is looking closely at this planet. It seems like they're sticking out their neck for, again, they don't know much going into it. They don't know what, again, they think she's just a kid overreacting to stuff. Like they even said that.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's not like they're getting reliable intel from a known source or something like that. It's just someone they have passing contact with, and a child at that. So I can understand again where he's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. As for Orn Free Taa, though, like I was pretty disappointed that he's recovering. It felt like such a bold choice for the show to kill him off the way they did or tried to do, and I think it just sucks because. Like, Darcy, you had mentioned that it was in a book. It came out in 2015 or whatever, so that's why he has to stay alive or something.
Yeah, so, like, and the book is Lords of the Sith, so it's like Vader and Palpatine get stuck or stranded on Ryloth, I think. Again, it's been a while since I've read it, and I clearly forgot it because I thought Orn Free Taa was dead as well. But in that book, his character he's immediately terrified of the Empire and his new apprentice, or Emperor and his new apprentice. Like, he knows to instinctively fear them, and I feel like maybe before the attempted assassination, he was taking the Empire too lightly, because he kind of seems like that. He's a very flaky guy. So I feel like he was just taking him at face value. This is just the Republic with a new name. And then after going through what he's been through now will really affect his character, and he becomes like terrified of the Empire and will do anything they ask just to stay alive. So
interesting.
Again, thinking back about that book or remembering that book now, I understand this is putting that fear into him already without even meeting the Emperor or Vader at this point. So
yeah, it also though, like, I don't think though the thing that it doesn't do is it doesn't raise the stakes.
No,
right? Like
God, no.
It if anything, it downplays the stakes, right? Like, you know, we all thought that shot to the head was gonna take him out, and that was like a statement. But to know that the intent was to just wound him, I guess from a political strategy, like, you know, they are taking out Cham, has a lot of respect. I think they obviously want someone that they can control in power on Ryloth, so it makes sense to keep him around. And also, if he becomes aware that the Empire was the one that wounded him like that, sends a message to him that, you know, he's, you know, expendable.
Doesn't it make more sense to keep Cham in power and to force Cham to
he's strong-headed,
to do what
though.
he wouldn't let them.
Yeah, he'd start rebelling immediately. Again, that's what I feel like this 2-episode arc was, just to get him back to rebelling, which again I felt like, why wasn't he rebelling in the first place? It seems odd for me to take that, like, to take a 2-episode route to get to the point where we already know him as. It just seems odd to me.
Yeah, a little out of place. Well, listen, Hunter justifies his comments. Omega is not having any of it, and she chides him for saying that to Hera, reminding him she's just trying to save her family. Omega runs off to comfort her, and before they know it, the pair come up with a strategy to attack the Imperial refinery on the outskirts of the capital, giving them the distraction they need to rescue Hera's parents while the Empire deploys its reinforcements. The only complication is the unmanned perimeter cannons at the refinery. But Hera is confident she, Omega, and Chopper can slip in and disable the Imperial's artillery. Upon sneaking into the refinery, Chopper easily blends in with the Imperial's droids and breaks into its operating system. However, he's unable to disable the cannons, which means Omega and Hera will have to take the console offline the old-fashioned way by blowing it up. While aware of how reckless they're being, Hera and Omega seize control of an Imperial shuttle, and with a little help from Chopper, they use it to take down the refinery's console. Never one to pass on the opportunity to create some explosions, Wrecker joins in on the fun, blasting the cannons to pieces from the Havoc Marauder. So, really quickly, guys, what did you think of this action set piece, and what did you think of seeing Hera's first, like, sort of true pilot, true flight?
Oh, no, she's flown before. She just hasn't taken off before. That's her first takeoff.
And you can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell with the way she was doing things here.
Well, I just got to say, I love Chopper. Seeing Chopper again do his thing has made me so happy. Again, the droid has such a personality. I feel like he really adds to any little high-stakes mission like this. Just watching him snarkily sneak around in that line of droids is really enjoyable.
It's so funny how Chopper, Chopper did the exact same thing that... what's his name from Rogue One that we're going to get a whole series of? Cassian Andor does at the beginning of Rogue One, where he stabs that guy in the back. But like this time we're like, oh, Chopper, you're so cute, because it's droids, and apparently droids' lives don't matter. Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But I loved how messy it all was. And like when Echo says like, yes, your dangerous and uncontrolled maneuvering is as confusing to them as it is to us. Like, I definitely think this set piece, this moment, was, with Hera's. I think it's more of like her first. Yeah, I guess her first takeoff. You could tell that was the big moment in the episode. That was the best part for me. And like the music swelled up, and you see Chop jetting onto the ship, and Wrecker laughing while blowing stuff up. Like, these are the parts. Give us more of this in our Bad Batch, but, not so much.
Yeah, give us more of it, but I think it's also like make the things around it also meaningful. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like, if this is the highlight of this episode, but it's not about moving the bigger story forward, like, I don't know. There's just, I'm waiting for something to happen in these episodes, and every time something does, it's just like, this is such a quick resolve, right? Again, it was great to see Hera actually, setting it up in the previous episode that she's never taken off, and then having her take off and seeing how rough that was. This was a nice little moment, but other than that, it was like,
I just thought, I mean, seeing Chopper hop in the front little hatch there took me right back to Rebels, basically, because that's such a typical maneuver for them to pull with the Ghost. So it's kind of cool to see the first instance of that happening.
Yeah.
I also really like Tech's, like the showcase of Tech's abilities. Like, he is clearly not your average pilot. The way he guns in there and manages to drift an airship around, like doing donuts in the air.
That was a cool moment.
He's pretty cool. He knows what he's doing behind the flight controls. So I think that was pretty cool too. So
Chopper was the highlight, though. I would.
Totally.
This was Chopper's episode.
Yeah.
That would be great if they did just another Chopper episode. Anyways, elsewhere, Hunter and Echo break into the capital and free Cham, Eleni, and Gobi from their holding cells. Gobi recognizes the duo as the ones who sold him blasters and explosives, which convinces Cham and Eleni to trust the clones. At the same time, Crosshair, having been alerted to Clone Force 99's presence by the probe droid from earlier, deduces that the refinery isn't their target and deploys his troops around the capital, laying a deadly trap. It's a trap for his former teammates. Then Clone Captain Hauser alerts Hunter, Echo, and the others to Crosshair's trap. While the heroes escape in Senator Taz's shuttle from his private tower on the opposite side of the Capitol, Hauser delivers a rousing speech to the troopers who were waiting to attack them, declaring, "What the Empire is doing is wrong." A number of them even throw down their weapons in solidarity before Crosshair has them arrested. So, guys, with seeing Hauser fully defect from the Empire and he's just now arrested, could this possibly be a spark that maybe brings about, a clone rebellion at some point? What do you guys think? Are we going to get more Hauser, or is this done? That's his story?
I mean, it'd be cool to see that, but I think I can't remember which one of you guys brought it up in previous episodes, but I feel like Rampart's just going to use this defection or this conscience that he has as a reason against the clone troopers. So I feel like that's really the route they're going, is they're trying to give the Empire as many excuses as possible as to why they need to phase these guys out, and that's really all I took away from it. So
justifying the end of the clones and the end of Camino.
Yeah, maybe I would love to get one more fight from him. You know what I mean?
Totally.
I do think in this moment, if they did want to sort of as you said, Justin, add stakes to these moments, to these episodes, getting Crosshair to actually just shoot him in that moment.
Yes.
What a great exit for that character. As short-lived as his character would have been more impactful. And instead, he's just arrested. And so, I get that, maybe they will go that route that you're saying, Darcy, or that that we were talking about last week. But still, I
don't trust it.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's a great idea. Don't get me wrong. I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't think that. I think we'll see Hauser again, because you have that as Hunter's leaving and he sees that Hauser's about to open the doors and confront what's on the other side, he kind of pauses and looks back at him, and it's either he's in his mind thinking, well, maybe not all clones have the same problems as others, right? So there's maybe that happening, but maybe for whatever reason we'll see him again, and maybe to your point, Nate, maybe we see him with some sort of small battalion of clones that did work under him that he's been able to free, and they start this sort of rebellion because against.
And I hope in classic Revenge of the Sith fashion, they all die. I hope it's a sort of a last battle situation. Give us some of these big moments. I know the show, isn't just for adults, right? But still, I just think it would make so much sense.
You guys said it last week. Eleni dying at the hands of Crosshair
would have been incredible.
And I was like, oh, this is totally going to happen. At a certain point, I was like, oh, this is going to happen, because it's just such a missed opportunity not to have Crosshair trap them, and then that becomes a gunfight. You know what I mean? And he ends up taking out.
They get away, but lose Eleni in the process. Yeah,
exactly.
That'd be a much more thrilling end as opposed to them just getting away.
Right? So now we have to wait and see how inevitably she does pass, right? Because we
never will, though.
We probably
again.
Won't. That's true. Yeah.
I don't know. I get that they like to. Star Wars likes to do that thing. They like to do the thing of leaving these spaces open so that they can come back later and we'll see a Hera series spin-off or whatever, right?
And maybe the intent of these episodes, where we're seeing them kind of cross over and touch characters from other animated series, is really just that. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out throughout the rest of this series.
For sure. All right, let's keep going here. Now, safe, much like this episode, back in Cham's old command post, Hunter refuses to let Eleni and Cham pay him, telling them they'll need the funds for whatever comes next. He also tells them about the Imperial occupations on other planets, but declines when Cham invites him to join him, Eleni, and Hera in organizing a resistance, insisting he needs to look out for his family. If a war is coming, it will be their fight as much as ours, Eleni says. We see then Hera says her goodbyes to Omega, and they fly off. Now, there's one more scene, but I'm going to save it for our prediction segment. So instead, what did you guys think of these final moments, and do you think we'll ever get to see Omega and Hera again side by side? Justin?
Well, I do hope so. I hope that we do get to see them again, if it's not at the end of this season, because we're at, 6 episodes left, if I'm not mistaken. No,
4 episodes.
4 episodes. My apologies.
4, yeah.
Yeah, 4 episodes left in this season. So I don't think we'll see it now, but if there is a season 2, we'll probably see that. This is the opportunity that I was thinking that was missed, where, it looks like they're getting away. It looks like, they're about to leave, and, they could have ended with just a final gun battle, and, Crosshair gets his mark and, tries to take out Cham, but ends up taking out his wife. And I think that could have been really setting the stakes. And again, showing how, while the Bad Batch, they can do good, maybe they're a bit of a curse at the same time involving them, right? To a certain degree. So I don't know. I'm trying to build it to be something more than it actually is.
I know, so. Justin, you're trying to, I know.
I'm like Nate. It's like this opportunity of story here that is just missed, right?
Right. I want it to be a bit better, obviously, because we love Star Wars. We want it to be the best that it possibly can be. And I do think, it did make more sense in my mind that Hunter wouldn't accept the payment at the end of the episode, because he really is in it for the greater good. But, I just don't know why he needed Omega to remind him of that at the beginning of the episode. It just... this is, again, where it reminded me that it sort of just took me out of the moment a little bit, because I was just
going against character traits and then suddenly reverting back. And I totally get what you're saying.
Felt a little cheap.
Yeah.
It's just, it was too quick.
For what sort of a lesson to be learned here, other than the lesson that he might have already had learned, or that we had thought he had learned. So.
And also pointing out that Omega doesn't really understand what soldiers are. I think she's confusing them with heroes. Like, soldiers fight wars, heroes save people. I mean, yes, maybe the wars help people, but heroes are the ones who do the saving. So that was something I noticed earlier on, and I'm just kind of like, okay, maybe that's a weird interpretation of soldier, but whatever, moving on.
I would love to see them sort of define that almost. That sounds, literally what you just said, Darcy, sounds like a Crosshair line.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
Crosshair and Omega episode in one episode where they have to talk to each other again. And he literally says that exact same thing. Come on. Anyways, wrapping up on the plot on this one, I want to know, what are your overall thoughts and your final score for this episode, which for this episode, we'll be rating it on a scale of 1 to 5 traitors to the Empire. Darcy, we'll start with you.
Like I said, I liked it more than last week. I think, again, a lot of that came from the characters. The story was very lacking, but I did like the characters we saw. Chopper, Hauser, and again, Hera to a certain extent. Seeing where she started was pretty cool. But yeah, the failing to really follow through on a story properly and give it the length and stewing time that some of this stuff kind of deserves, it kind of disappoints me a bit. So yeah, better than last week. So I'll probably go give it, a 2.8 out of 5 traitors to the Empire. It's, again, I thought it was very lacking. I've Ryloth fatigue over here. That just that sums up my feelings totally.
Justin, how about yourself?
Well, yeah, again, just reiterating what I've already said, lackluster episode, setting up stories in previous episodes and quickly resolving them and closing them out. The stakes sometimes seem to be raised, but then they're lowered again. It's just this constant back and forth with some of these episodes where it's like, oh, this is Star Wars, but now it's a kid's show. Oh, it's Star Wars, but now it's a kid's show. There's just this constant sort of need to resolve. That being said, the action scene in the middle of this episode was good. I like that sort of choreography. It was fun that they did. And I think I'd give this episode a 2.5 out of 5 traitors to the Empire because this thing definitely was a traitor.
Well, it's funny because Justin, like it's we talk in our Marvel watch clubs how some people don't really for the Marvel series on Disney Plus. There's some people that don't like the fact that it's like a whole season to get two answers to questions, right? And then for this, we're talking about how like, why are they answering the questions so quickly? Like it's too short almost, right? And so we've seen this balance before. We've seen the balance in Star Wars before. We have gotten it. And I don't know, ultimately for me, this episode was fine. And it had great moments like Hera and Omega working together and Hauser sacrificing himself for the greater good.
And Chopper, I gotta say.
And Chopper,
yes.
right?
Love seeing
Give it up for Chopper. Yeah. But last week, I applauded the series for taking those bold moves and elevating, Justin, what we're talking about, what a kid's show could be. And this week, it just kind of reverted back to being a kid's show again. And I get it. It is a kid's show. But so far, no one integral to the Star Wars universe has really died. I know we've got one of the Kaminoans, unfortunately, was killed. But like other than that, everyone's fine. Orn Free Ta is going to be fine. Hera's mom is fine for now. So if this was just a mission to explore Hera's character and to see her parents at the start of their rebellion against the Empire, then cool. But I didn't get the feeling that we were going to see more from them anytime soon. I don't think we're going to see them again within this season again, unless there's another season and there's a future arc for these characters in another season of Bad Batch or another animated show, which it's Star Wars. There probably will be at some point. But I just felt like this episode really missed some opportunities to show some really big moments for Hera, for her character, and for Ryloth. And I think this arc could have benefited from potentially being 3 episodes instead of just 2. So overall, even though I enjoyed it, it's a Friday morning Star Wars cartoon. I had some wonderful sugary cereal with it, Lucky Charms. I'm going to give this episode 3 traitors to the Empire out of 5. But guys, at the end of most watch clubs, we do like to speculate what we think is going to happen next. And this week's, the episode concludes back at the destroyed refinery with Crosshair requesting permission to hunt Clone Force 99. And Rampart responds by saying, granted. So with Crosshair now making a beeline for his Bad Batch brothers, I have to ask you, my Bad Batch brothers, what's gonna happen, Batch? Justin, we'll start with yourself.
I guess this is the snowball now. Like, if this is the last
Hopefully.
4 episodes and like this is what we got, then maybe this is what it is. Honestly, I gotta say, I don't know where they're going with this anymore, right? Like, I don't know if this show really does lend itself to necessarily having theories, because all these theories that we have, while it gets us excited, like fans and geeks, we get excited from these ideas and the potential. They're resolving things very quickly. And as you said, Darcy, like they're not allowing time for the story to kind of evolve and for it to kind of soak in. It's just, here's the stakes and then here's it resolved. It's just this constant toss-up. So it might sound like I'm a little frustrated, which I am, because to your point, Nate, I expect more from Star Wars. I expect this is possible with things like The Mandalorian. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't understand why there needs to be a sort of readjustment because it's an animated show. It's just how that production is built, but your storytelling can still be very central to like a bigger story. And I think we got a lot of that at the beginning, and now it just seems like we're in random territory. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
if all we're supposed to see is how the Bad Batch have now touched previous characters' lives that we just never knew about, is that all this series is going to be?
Right. Yeah, just when you're talking about how we've seen so many characters you've interacted with, I feel like that's one of the show's setbacks. Is you can't raise the stakes when we've seen these characters' futures already. If you're introducing characters that we know survive and go on to have a big presence, the stakes aren't going to get that high because it's not a character we've grown to love over the course of an episode. It's someone we already love and know. So it makes no sense to just bring these characters back for stake-raising missions that don't really happen.
For sure, but can we not raise the stakes to show huge, impactful moments that change their characters or add to their characters? Like,
we should
for instance, I don't think Orn Free Ta is the greatest character, but like you even just bringing up, Darcy, like how, maybe this changes how he is fundamentally in terms of him being afraid of the Empire going forward. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that sort of makes up for it. So, like, but why didn't we get that for Hera? Why didn't we get that for Ryloth?
Yeah, and why didn't we see, like, I think this is a total missed opportunity for like, think of everything that was involved in this episode, in that, you know, Omega wanted to help Hera, and
right,
the Bad Batch, or Hunter, was reluctant, but he said, okay, fine, we'll do it. And if at the end of this they lose Eleni, this would have raised stakes for them. They would have, you know, Omega would have felt bad, right? I think, you know, even to see that sort of how she would have felt after something like that. Hunter would have been like, you know, I shouldn't have second guessed ourselves. This wasn't a good idea, right? Like, they would have felt responsible for the fact that, you know, maybe they were the targets from Crosshair, but she fell in line with that, and creating, you know, again, I get not killing the relationship between Omega and Hera, but like drawing a line is like, Hera says, like, well, you're kind of responsible for why that happened, and maybe that's a revelation that would have happened later. Again, I am geeking out with the idea of the potential of where this story could be. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, but it was such an opportunity, and you know, that probably would have worked better in a live action capacity, like if it was like something with the Mandalorian, you know, in that sort of world. Who knows?
I mean, at the top of the prediction, Justin, you said you're confused and you don't really know where it's going. And I feel like the end of this scene, like, Crosshair's look on Crosshair's face was not anger or determination. He was confused. Like, I have no idea where he stands anymore. Like, he wants to hunt them down, but gets the go ahead. And now he's confused about it. Like, it's I don't get it. I have no idea what's going on anymore.
I think these last 5 episodes should really just focus, or 4 episodes. I don't know how many episodes we have left.
4.
On a nice arc, right? Focused on the Bad Batch, Omega, and Crosshair. Ryloth is all cleared up, neat and tidy, and I think as much as I and the rest of the internet would love to see Hauser again, just focus on the mysteries that you've opened up at the beginning of the season.
Just focus on the Bad Batch and their problems.
Give us a few answers, and we'll go from there. And again, this, honestly, a lot of this really does depend on if we get another season of this show. But we'll have to wait and see for that.
I'm wondering if this season is a bit heavy in that, to your point, Nate, it just doesn't seem to have a focus, right? Like, if this was, like, let's say 8 episodes and it was just about the Bad Batch, and then we get into a greenlit season 2, and that's when we start to see how they've interacted with other characters and stuff like that.
Sure.
It could have been a bit of a different approach, but it feels like with 16 episodes, they're doing a mishmash of both, right?
Yeah.
And with really no focus, because it feels like things are, as we've described, resolving themselves fairly quickly, like the episode with the inhibitor chip and all that build up to just, you know, in a half hour, let's resolve this.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, listen, that is it for the 12th episode of our Watch Club for Star Wars The Bad Batch. We hope you enjoyed the Watch Club maybe more than you enjoyed the episode of Bad Batch itself. And if you did, make sure to subscribe to us wherever you like to listen to podcasts, if you haven't already. And if you want to write into the show with your thoughts or predictions on the shows we cover in Watch Club, well, listen, you don't have to call those soldiers your uncle made you talk to that one time to save your parents from jail while learning how to pilot a potentially deceased senator's private ship, only to blow stuff up and then say goodbye to your new friend. Instead, Justin, can you let the lovely batches know where they can write into the show?
Well, they can reach us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Please reach out. Let us know. Are we crazy? Are we crazy to think that this episode was horrible? Or am I nuts to think that this season should be something more? I would love to know if someone out there
maybe we're too critical.
Maybe we are too critical. Maybe we just need to, someone needs to, put us into check.
Reel us back in.
Yeah, exactly.
Let us know. Keep in mind, we just wrapped our other Watch Club for Marvel's Loki finale, and boy, oh boy, do we ever go deep into all the multiverse theories. So definitely go check that out. We also have... well, I mean, not really. I mean, we also have a ton of other episodes covering the latest content released on Disney Plus out now, including our spoiler-filled review for Marvel's Black Widow and our review for Disney's latest docuseries, Behind the Attraction. So definitely check that out. We had a really good time with that series. So go give those a listen and a 5-star review. Justin, Darcy, Thank you so much for joining me for this Watch Club. And as we say,
Good soldiers follow orders.